You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
The killing of a pregnant wild elephant in Kerala with an explosive laden pineapple has triggered nationwide outrage. Cricketers, celebrities, common citizens, wildlife experts are all up in arms against this horrendous act of cruelty and are demanding accountability. While the Kerala Forest Department is investigating into the matter, are we missing the big picture here? Is outrage and handing out punishments for an act of animal cruelty a sustainable solution or a quick fix? You're tuned in to The Big Story, the podcast where we dissect the headline making news for you. And I'm your host, Shorbori. This incident from Kerala's Palakkad district came to light on 30th May after a section forest officer in Mannarkad forest posted on Facebook about this. Mohan Krishnan, the forest official, was a part of the rapid response team who had come to rescue the elephant. In the post, he had written, and I'm quoting it, quote, "When the pineapple or some other fruit that she ate exploded, she would have been shocked or worried not about herself. It must have been about the child that she was going to give birth in 18 to 20 months." End quote. The injuries and the jaw fracture that the elephant received were a few days old when the forest officials found her, and she ultimately couldn't be saved. But it's this heartfelt post that went viral on social media that got the incident under the national attention. Ratan Tata tweeted on it saying he's quote-unquote grieved and shocked. Virat Kohli said that he was quote-unquote appalled. His teammate Rishabh Pant wrote he hoped that the guilty are punished, and Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan vowed to take strict action. Now, as far as action goes, an FIR has been filed against unidentified people in connection to the incident, but why does this incident seem oddly familiar? Perhaps because barely a couple of months back in April, another young wild elephant in Kerala's Kollam district had died and she too had a jaw fracture. However, that didn't get reported as widely and it didn't receive as much attention on social media or promises of strict action. It only got attention after this recent incident. Quoting officials, a report on NDTV said that the cause of death of the other elephant has not been confirmed and now tests have been sent for chemical analysis. Are both cases the result of explosive snares? Are they intentional acts? Are people out there specifically targeting elephants? Only an investigation will yield answers to that, but some reports like the one in the Indian Express have also said that villagers and farmers often lay such traps for wild boars in the southern states of Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka to prevent them from destroying crops. But is it just the cruelty that deserves all the questions and actions, or should we also be looking into what is causing these human and animal conflicts, be it with wild boars or wild elephants? We spoke to wildlife expert Dr. P S Eas, who says that even with laws in place, human and wildlife conflict is a consistent problem and that it's attitudes that need to change.
I think there is enough policy already there in place. See, the policy is to see that we have hassle-free, disturbance-free habitat, continuous habitat. That is why a lot of importance is given by both the central government and state government for acquiring the elephant corridors, so that the elephants and other animals requiring larger area will be able to move and live freely. So and of course in killing the animal, I think one of the major issue is definitely human wildlife conflict. That's there all over India and all over Asia and all over the world. Now there is a policy which is being done by central government under NTCA and by the MOEF, which is utilized by the state governments also. Say for example, in Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary, the forest department has already shifted, I think 4 or 5 settlements from the interior of Wayanad, so that that area is available, and they are making an attempt to remove other people also, whoever is willing, voluntary relocation, that is also happening. So this is basically a retaliatory killing and a criminal action. See, even with the policy and even with the laws in this country, we are getting a lot of people killed by criminals. So here also this happens. And definitely these retaliatory killings can have to be addressed by solving the problem of uh, human wildlife conflict. And for that also I will say that there should be change in the attitude of the people who are living in the fringes and who are living in the enclosures. So they should go for coexistence. At the same time, the government has also taken actions, and some of the NGOs have also acquired corridors and transferred the land to for forest department. At the same time, we should also see that the people are protected by providing solapa fencing or other facilities, or people have their own innovative ideas also to protect the areas. So I think the major issue is again change in the attitude of the people. When you are in Rome, you have to behave like a Roman, and and you have to see that these are animals are there around, and we should also be slightly careful and tolerate to some extent. Say, if you talk to the Adivasis, the tribal people in some of the areas, they will definitely say that, oh, yeah, it is there. Yeah, what to do? Doesn't matter much. Whereas the others, who have come and settled there, so they cannot tolerate.
Now, speaking of human wildlife conflict, are we doing enough to provide a safe environment to elephants and other wildlife? Are we doing enough to reduce the conflict? Even as there's hue and cry over the death of this elephant, what pours water over these concerns are perhaps giving a green signal to projects that can potentially affect elephant habitats. A fresh example of that would be from April 7th, when the National Board for Wildlife, or NBWL, approved a coal mining project in the Salike proposed reserve forest area, which is a part of the Dehing Patkai Elephant Reserve in Assam. Since April, activists and common citizens have been protesting online through a viral campaign against this move, because this project would affect a very rich biodiversity of flora and fauna, and not just elephants. And we need to protect the wildlife habitats. Dr. Nitin Sekar, who's the lead of Elephant Conservation Program at WWF India, explains that while India is doing well with conservation of elephants and has strong wildlife protection laws, we're not protecting wildlife habitats enough, which is ultimately forcing wild animals to come close to human settlements in search of food.
In some ways, India is the world leader in the conservation of Asian elephants. We have about 27,000 wild elephants, more than any other country, largely because people in India are willing to live in close quarters with elephants, even though they can be dangerous. And even though elephants, when they're hungry, tend to sometimes raid the crops of farmers. In addition, India has strong wildlife protection laws, and there's a good bit of enforcement to prevent poaching or the otherwise illegal killing of elephants. Kerala and Kerala's people are a big part of that success story. But while we might be pretty good at protecting elephants in at least some parts of the country, we're doing a way less impressive job at protecting their habitat. Everything from mining projects and agricultural encroachment to invasive species is chipping away at the forests and grasslands that elephants need to survive. And as they run out of food in the forest, crops can go from being tempting to being more and more necessary for their survival. And this makes human-elephant conflict more likely. We don't know exactly what happened in Malappuram at this point. We don't know if people were actually trying to kill an elephant using the explosive pineapple, or if it was just an accident. But these are the forces that push elephants into human habitation and make this sort of thing more probable, this sort of tragedy more probable.
Even if the culprits are found and justice is delivered, there's a lot more that Kerala has to do to protect its elephants. In God's own country, which has a close cultural tradition with elephants, there's an ongoing story of abuse of captivated elephants as well. Other than these incidents of killings, Kerala has the second highest number of captive elephants in the country, captivated for tourism or for religious purposes. And a census conducted by the Forest Department, the reports of which was published on the New Indian Express, said that only 32 out of the 515 captive elephants that was paraded in festivals across the state had valid ownership documents. That means that there's no way to officially monitor the treatment of the rest of the elephants. The torment that some of the elephants had to go through have been reported many times, and in 2018, 34 of these elephants died for various reasons, from being underfed or overworked or overexhaustion. A report on Quads also said that between 2015 and 2017, over 70 captive elephants died under quote-unquote unnatural conditions and at a young age, in private custody in just 3 states, that are Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Rajasthan. And it's only after all this that the state government in Kerala made a small move to take custody of these animals from owners who can't afford them for a nominal fee. Hopefully, the sympathy that this incident has evoked amongst Indians will also lead to some serious structural changes. If you like listening to this episode, please subscribe to the Big Story playlist for episodic updates. We're live on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, JioSaavn, and most of the other popular podcast streaming platforms. For other podcasts, please log on to the Quint website and check out the podcast section. For any feedback, shoot an email to podcasts@thequint.com.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.